and you can just speak to Smriti. Maybe one evening we can have a ferocious debate on death sentence. Anyway, the Human Rights Law Network has taken a stand against death sentence. An absolute stand against death sentence in no circumstance. And earlier, death meant 14 years. So many people opposed to the death sentence used to say that what is the point? These people are going to come out in 14 years and then they're going to come and harass the family. But that has been resolved by our Supreme Court itself, which is moving in the direction of cutting down on death sentences. And the Supreme Court said in Swami Shraddhananda's case, that an alternative to death sentence is imprisonment for life. And the Supreme Court also said that life means life. Not 14, 16, 18, 20. For the remainder of your life, that is life. So many of the opponents of death sentence, once they realized, including the victims, families whose members had been killed, once they realized that people are not going to be released after 14 years, began to not support or not oppose death sentence, but they began to be more contemplative. They began to think more. Why should I ask for somebody else's life? Why? When I know the person is going to be behind bars for the rest of his life. And then Sonia Gandhi spoke up in Nalini's case. The attack on Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. She said, please don't assassinate her. Please don't, wrong term to use, please don't hang her. So she was given life imprisonment instead of death. And Graham Staines, the missionary in Orissa, whose family, Graham Staines and his, I think, 2 boys or 3 boys, were burnt alive by communal elements. Graham Staines' wife said, please don't kill in my name. You want to do what you want to do, you do. Please don't say that I am asking because of me you are doing the hanging of these murderers. Graham Staines. So there have been notable examples in Indian life where people have protested against the death sentence. Victims have protested against the death sentence. And as I said, life imprisonment has turned out to be a decent alternative for those who have wanted revenge, kill, hang. Now when you tell them that, look, they're going to be in for 40 years. Take the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. I've got a client, Perari Valan. Perari Valan was 18 years old in college. Now you try and understand this, huh? With what you read in the newspapers and so on, rubbish. He was in college. Electrical engineering student. Supporter of LTT, yes, general supporter. Everybody in Tamil Nadu, what do you say? Everybody in Tamil Nadu is a great supporter of LTT. What is the problem? Fighting. Okay, rightly maybe, wrongly a supporter, whatever. Rightly, wrongly supporter, whatever. But like, romantic, Tamil will be there, Elam will be there. Okay, you have your views, you have your political views. Somebody from the LTT knew that he was working on electrical batteries and sent a message that we want a battery for some, God knows, some program, we want some battery. He said, sure, take, on my drawer there are 100 batteries. He was working on batteries, he was making batteries or something like that. Some class assignment. He gave a battery. He was in a cinema hall when the bomb blast took place. Can you imagine? He was in a cinema hall when the bomb blast took place. And when he came out after that, they told him, please run, the police are looking for you, they'll come to you. So he started running and he was caught. And the evidence in the case is that he supplied the battery. He was part of the conspiracy to supply. If he was part of the conspiracy, he would be running and hiding. He wouldn't be in a cinema hall. 18-year-old boy, sentenced to death. I met him in prison. You should see that prison, small prison, 10 feet by 10 feet. Like an animal, like a zoo, if you see, exactly like a zoo. Zoo will be a little better, there will be some straw port or something, for animals. The concrete and a hole there, like a, how to put that, potty. streaming down his, tears streaming down. When I met him, he was 30 something, so he was caught at 18. I think now they've been, when was the assassination? Anybody remember? 91, 2001, 22 years. Now 22 years. The jailer is telling me, jailer साहब is telling me, jailer, वकील साहब उसको बचाओ, ये हमारा बेस्ट प्रिजनर है. मतलब क्या होता है बेस्ट प्रिजनर? अरे साहब ये हमारा कंप्यूटर क्लास शुरू किया, ये हमारा एजुकेशन क्लास शुरू किया, ये मॉडल प्रिजनर है, ये फोटोग्राफ देखो साहब. And he's showing me photographs. They're handing over certificates, awards, and he's smiling at the camera and accepting. ये हमारा बेस्ट प्रिजनर है साहब, इसको बचाओ. And this is the man the country will put to death with vengeance. Because judges never go to meet. No High Court, Supreme Court judge will go to a jail and say, this man's life is in my hands, I'm going to extinguish it. Let me meet him once so that I am convinced that I should extinguish his life. Nobody will go. You go for 2 minutes and you will understand that this is not a life to be extinguished. This is a reformed man. Whatever, suppose he has done it as a conspiracy. This is a reformed man. Magan Lal's case, for those who feel killing of children in Magan Lal, just now we got his stay. At 11:30 at the Chief Justice's house, 11:30 Chief, because Magan Lal, bitterly poor Adivasi family. 5 girls, 4 boys. Small plot of land. His relatives, somebody was trying to grab it. He was inclined to sell it. Bitterly poor. His wives told him, if you sell your land, how will you feed your daughters and sons? How will you look after your children? In a fit of madness, he took the axe and killed his 5 children, 5 girls. Horrible crime, horrific crime. He was moody for many days. This is the High Court judgment. He was moody for many days. Parishan tha, he was in a chakkar, moving around, muttering to himself, holding an axe. How will I feed my family? How will I feed my family? How will I feed my family? Killed all his children. And then the High Court judgment says he tried repeatedly to commit suicide. Repeatedly. He was in such a frenzy and remorse, tried to kill himself, kill him. They had to catch him and tie him to a tree. And when the president did not grant him pardon, there was an interview done by NDTV with his family. And his wife is saying, my husband did something in rage. We do not know what madness has come over him. But he was a very good husband and a very good father to the children. Please save his life. Now what do you say? You can't make out. Should you take the life of this man? You can't make out. I of course take an absolute stand. No, question. To keep him in jail for the rest of his life. But all these cases, I have done so many of these death sentence cases of great doubt. And taking life, according to me, we have always argued, is not in the hands of any. Those of you who believe in God, it is in the hands of God. Is not. And those of you who don't believe in God, then you believe in the Constitution. You say you should not take, etc. South Africa, of course, the Constitutional Court has unanimously, the whole bench, I think, of 8 or 9 or 10 judges, whatever, they unanimously held the death sentence to be cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. But anyway, these deaths. Now, the main judgment in India, and I'll end with this, is Bachchan Singh's case. You must read that, please. Bachchan Singh's case, I think that again we've given you. So just it's there. You get a CD or what? You get with a pen drive. You get it on your computer. Bachchan Singh's case. And I'll end with this. Bachchan Singh says 2 things, which in India they forgot. Now the Supreme Court has done some very nice judgments. To hang, there must be 2 things. Heinous crime, it must be heinous. But the second requirement is very important. The person must be incapable of reform. And that must be proved by the state, not by the accused person, by leading evidence. So the state has to lead evidence that this man who has committed this heinous crime, he is incapable of reform, and that is very hard to prove. Many death sentence cases are first-time offenders. Many death sentence cases, after they commit this heinous crime, In jail, they are model prisoners. The state will find it impossible to prove that the person is incapable of reform. Everybody is capable of reform. Those of you who have followed this Indian tradition of Buddhism and Angulimal and all that, no? Angulimal, isn't it? Notorious man, killed people, cut off their thumbs and then made a necklace of thumbs, I think, right? Round his neck. I'm not so familiar with it. But it's a fascinating story. Kill, cut off the thumb, tie it round the neck. Angulimal. And then he met Buddha. And Buddha always saw the soul of people, right? The spirit and the soul of people. He could see through see the soul of people, that they are capable of being reformed. That conviction, spiritual conviction, that everyone is capable of reform. And then he reformed Angulimal. Angulimal became his great disciple. Followed him, preaching non-violence everywhere. And so we have many cases, but long story with long possibility. Maybe one evening, if you like, we can do a session on this. But on that, we'll close today and we'll go for lunch.
You have far exceeded your quota of torture. I have a question. You mentioned Bachan Singh case.
Yes.
Is it that, that case also laid down that in the rarest of the rare cases, death penalty could be implemented. Does the state also have to, in those cases too, prove that the person is beyond reform?
Yes.
And there has to be some reasonable and cogent evidence available, made available
it's
on
like
the
this.
record?
Rarest of rare. What does it mean? It means two things. Heinous crime, one. Incapable of reform, two. So it is only a heinous crime, terrible crime. But the person is, let's say, let me take, it's very provocative. Say this Kashmir case of Afzal. First of all, like this, it's hardly, some Afzal's case is fine case for acquittal. Anyway, what is that in Afzal? I feel even in Kasab's case, the young boy was sold at the age of 12 to the Taliban or something. At the age of 12, his father sold him for 200, 300 rupees to the Taliban. Then the Taliban indoctrinates him. I mean, come on, you can't take a boy like him and change him. Can't be done. Deal with him gently, deal with him properly, deal with him firmly. He could become a spokesman against terrorism. Why? 12-year-old boy, you take any one of you 12 years old and put you in the Taliban or put you in this some saffron extremist organization, you will become a killer. I can train you from the age of 12 to carry guns and kill. What is the problem?